What's going on, everybody? Matt Malatesta here in the Coach's Corner. We only bring champions on. This is championship week. Coach Taylor Land from Second Baptist School wins the 5A TAPPS state championship this weekend in Waco. Coach, congrats. First year on the job, winning a state championship. You got everybody coming back. What a tremendous season it was. Just walk us through. When did you think, hey, this team's got a chance?
No, I appreciate it. And, we will miss Michael Pratt and Terrence Baylor next year. But, yeah, a lot of young guys coming back. And I think that's what was really encouraging was even our two seniors in around August, September, we just felt like this whole team has a lot of room for growth, and they were hungry. And so we had a couple preseason shootouts that we were in September and October, and you could kind of start to see some of the growth, and those guys were just trying to absorb what we're trying to do with defense and offense. And then we beat St. John's, a really good St. John's team at home early in the season. And I think that kind of opened some eyes of like, oh, we got a chance to do something here.
Well, everybody talks culture, but you came in kind of late, let's call it. How did you kind of just bring in your energy, bring in your culture, and what is that?
Well, backtracking to when I took the job in July, the mission of the school really aligned with when I came in to interview some of the stuff that I was kind of talking about with our values. We call it the 5 Gs: and growth, grit, gratitude, goodness, and the golden rule. We were basically speaking the same language with the school, and the school talking about, community, Christ-centered excellence. There was just a ton of things that seemed to really mesh. And so I felt like the school had great support with the program and how we wanted to do things. But that stuff is a credit to our guys. They were a joy to coach. There was great team chemistry really from the beginning in terms of how much they would hang out outside of basketball and just how coachable they were. I mean, when you can coach a guy like Reese Alston, who's one of the best, if not the best point guard in his class in the country, for him to be really coachable, it's a tribute to the parenting and all the other coaches that came before me here and AAU. So I was just totally impressed with the guys willing to accept being coached.
Your family has a huge weekend. You win a state championship. Your brother also wins a state championship at St. Michael's. Y'all were sharing locker rooms. What was the family experience like? Your dad was probably there, who's the voice of the Spurs. Well, I mean, that's storybook, baby. That's storybook.
It was a blast, and very lucky that everybody was close. I mean, my brother has been he's played in 4 different countries. One time we were both out in Australia together. He was in Europe at one point, and I was in another country. And so for us to all be in Texas and then have both sides, my wife's family, my family, and then my brother, his wife's family, all there was really special. I mean, St. Michael's was in the same locker room as us 5 hours later. So it was kind of surreal to see all that. And then for them to cap it off with a game-winning shot by Bo Ogden to win the whole thing was, I don't know if you could have written it up any better on our end.
Yeah. So talk about your guys. You talk about Reese, of course, the son of Skip Tumalu. Everybody knows Rafer Alston. But you were very balanced. You had him running the point, some great shooters. Just talk about some of these guys outside of Reese that really put this thing together with Francis and Goolsby. It was a complementary team.
Absolutely. I mean, there were multiple games where Shia Francis, junior for us, Michael Pratt, senior, and both those guys are captains along with Reese. Will Goolsby, Cannon Toon came in from football, starting quarterback in football. They go to the state championship game, and he comes right into basketball the next week and makes big plays for us against, I think it was Houston Christian. And so all those guys were main contributors throughout the year, but even Mav Manganiello and Jude Brown, Aaron Smith off the bench. We had guys like J.J. Konzelman and Chase Bob, Terrence Baylor. Terrence Baylor started for us for half the year. We could spend 30 minutes on each guy, but a guy like Terrence started half the year and had us move from, I think, 11th in the state to first in the state. And then for him to step over to the side and let a guy like Cannon come into the starting role and just be super supportive and still help us win games. That was the kind of stuff that I'm not sure it's anything I'm saying about the culture. It's actually the guys that are driving all that stuff.
This weekend, I'm not going to say it was easy, but y'all made it look easy. Just 2 games, I think, winning by, maybe almost 20 points in each game. Just talk about the semifinal game first. What was really key there? I think y'all got into foul trouble, but y'all just kept on playing. And then the final as well.
Yeah, I told our guys in the locker room, kind of backtracking from the final game. After that game, I said, I know it's going to, in the short term, you're going to think that this was kind of easy because these 2 games played out so well by the end. But just remember how rare it is to be able to have your team generally healthy the whole year. We had a couple guys that were hurt from the very beginning of the season onward, but all those guys that were playing from game 1 were all healthy in game 36 or whatever it was. That almost never happens. Been in so many situations where, there's a couple key injuries and you're like, man, if we had just had that guy healthy. Well, we were all healthy. And a lot of the teams we were playing were battling those kinds of things. But then, yeah, I think actually Chris Spittle, one of our assistants, told our guys before the playoffs, he said, you guys need to have a welcome to the jungle mentality, meaning there's going to be something crazy happening in these games. And football coach Beck Bryden told our team, hey, like, what do you do if Reese is out? What do you do if this situation happens? And so they were really well prepared by our other coaches to think like, all right, something crazy will happen. In that semifinal game, there was 2 double technicals by guys that were, they were talking back and forth, but there was nothing crazy going on. And all of a sudden you get some of those calls. And we had a couple players like Shai Francis who were just totally calm in the moment and were great leaders for us. And so you kind of work through some of those things. And then the end result looks like it was easy, but in the thick of it, I'm telling you, it felt like a lot of chaos.
It's wild like that. So what I love is young coaches, right? And how, you can connect to high school kids because y'all are, relatively young coaches. It's not the same, 50-year-old coaches with the old mindset. How do you think your youth plays into kind of an advantage almost?
Sure. No, maybe I'm still semi close to my playing days and can remember, how many mistakes I made as a player, how many things were running through my head. Maybe there's some of that residue still left over to connect with these guys. But I do think a lot of it was our assistant, Chris Artis, connected with our players in a huge way. They would run through a wall hopefully for our whole staff, but he was incredible with how he connected with guys and just having his finger on the pulse of the team. And then we had two other assistants, Max Modica and Donovan Duffs-Malchian, that both played on the state championship team in 2018. And so they were great to be able to kind of help guide guys through it. And you talk about young coaches having an impact. That helped. And then I was an assistant for 8 years. So I think that was probably the biggest help that I could provide, because as an assistant coach, you've got to be able to be at least some of the glue while the head coach has 8 million decisions to make every day. You got to be down in the scrum of like, where are these guys? Where's their psyche at? And this is my first year as a head coach. So I still had a lot of that kind of mentality, I think.
Well, hey, football had a great year. They reached the state championship. C.H. Herndon over there, the girls team, been to state after state. But Taylor Land brings the trophy back, and it's right behind him, which is awesome. So, hey, Coach, congrats on that. Iron sharpened iron over there at Second Baptist for sure. congrats on your first year winning the state championship. Guys coming back. It's going to be an exciting run. Also, y'all are just going to get better over the summer. So congrats on building something really fast and just being able to see it all the way through. That's hard. You're right what you're saying. Like, if you think about a basketball season, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, and then you got the New Year's, and it's just a long grind. And to be able to, like you said, just kind of put it all together, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
You guys focus for that long. I can't be focused for 45 minutes.
No, you're right. It is very challenging. It's an absolute blast to coach these guys. I mean, I enjoy going home and watching film and trying to help them get better. But it's also really humbling being at a place like Second. And it'll sound cliche, but I mean, a lot of these guys came here because of what they saw with Coach Mouton and what he helped do over 14 years. And our staff, I mean, I tell guys, I'm a PE teacher during the school day. And I learned just as much assisting in PE for guys like Rainer Noble and CH and Jim Stevens and Keith Page and Tim Smith. I mean, there's incredible coaches here. And I tell people it's like a master class to watch them corral kindergartners. And so I'm just trying to steal as much as I can and help with the team after that.
That's a great way to put it. All right, well, Coach, have a great offseason. Congrats again. We'll see y'all in a couple months when we ramp this thing back up.
Matt, thanks for having me on.
You bet. This is Matt with VYPE. We'll see y'all at the games.
All right, Matt.